Granada. Yes, this is in my books. People will find it. Yes. So the thing is, now what's this got to do with America and ancient Egypt? So then there is more. So what they tell us is some other stupid story. There was an empire of the Mongols. Yes, and the Mongol Empire ruled half of Europe, or they were invading Germany, invading, go down to Italy, invading the Balkans, and they were everywhere. Their empires were temporarily here and there. That what do you call it? They ruled eventually. That map is from the 13th century. They eventually took over India. They took over Egypt. They took over many of the lands. But what we know is that Mongolia is a fake, that we can't even find it, that even in the early 20th century, Ulaanbaatar looks like the people have just arrived, wooden huts as the Russians, yes, turn it into a settlement, and there's not, even today, there's not enough population. So what they tell us is that in Europe, they have millions of Arabic manuscripts, but they say they're not European, or they came from Baghdad or somewhere pathetic like this. They say more than half were from Europe. Yes, they say sometimes, but other historians, they try to say it came from Baghdad mixed with Farsi or Persian or Persian or Prussian. So they're claiming that this old Farsi documents, when you have a look at it, it's like 80% Arabic. Yeah, so it's not even Persian. So they're telling us some garbage story. Yes, a million Mongols, a million. They seem to have marched or walked from Mongolia. Do you know how far that is, guys? It's not even the distance Napoleon marched to Moscow, the fake history that they've said, but start coming and walking from these, from these deserts of Mongolia. We're talking deserts here, yes, and you're coming from the cold, cold deserts, minus 50 degrees on all this for several months of the year, and they're just coming, and they're going to say 13th century, they sacked Baghdad, they burnt it. That's why we can't find any evidence of this Arabic civilization over there, apart from a few fake things that they've got there. So they're going to say these Mongols came, they sacked it, they burnt all the libraries, thousands or millions of books and everything. But anyway, so now let's come back to Europe. So now on the other side of the world, there's no Mongols, but the Vatican's walked in. Same thing, skulls and bones, they bury people alive. Here, just in the last city in Europe where they were still using Arabic, they claim it's the 15th century, but it's more like 18th century. Yes, when we see that people are saying we can't understand what happened, there's mud floods and something is wrong. Yes, people won't understand this if they.
Peace, peace, peace and love. Assalam, Sufayam. Historically, there's a time period where there was a battle called the Battle of Granada. And this battle has led to a complete misunderstanding and a complete renaissance of linguistical phonetics, later to be called and involved with the Spanish Inquisition. So when we are talking about the Battle of Granada, this is in reference to why there was a Battle of Granada. They was taking and burning the Arabic Bible.
Don't read my book Mudflood, that there is something wrong with the 18th or 19th century. Yes, and the thing is, there's something wrong that they can find it in the Mudflood book, and there is something wrong. I go through the entire century in the book. Napoleon did not exist. Yes, that they say there was a Napoleon in the 1870s, and there was another one 80 years before him. It's like there's something wrong with the full century that they've added on 50, 60, or 70 years, or something. There's something wrong, that they're hiding something happened in the 18th, 19th century.
Yes, they're hiding our inheritance, our profound inheritance, our inheritance beyond what we can fathom is we are beyond rich in spirit, in mind, and in flesh, and inheritance from the land to the air to the water every part of our Creator's creation. Peace and love.
Yes. So the thing is, and we see all these cities burnt out and everything. But anyway, so the thing is, what the hell are they doing? That they're burning 1 million Arabic books, then they're going around door to door, and they're doing this throughout America. Yes, Arabic books were getting banned in America. America? Why would Arabic books be already there if Columbus didn't discover it around the same time, 1492? Yeah.
Arabic in America. Arabic in America. This is why.
Similar dates. Yes. So the thing is, they're looking for Arabic books and they're burning Arabic books in America at the same time, which doesn't make sense. So now the thing is, what we will find is that there's something strange. Let's go through this because there's many printed books after they burnt the originals. Yeah, they mysteriously say the printing press turned up in the 16th century. Yes, wide scale, 15th, 16th, 17th century. And then the thing is, this is what the official history they're going to tell us. Yes, the first books printed in the Persian language using Arabic, yeah, were published in Europe. Excuse me? Huh? Oh. Yeah, but they're actually, it's not actually Persian. It's like you can turn around and say there's American books and there's Australian books. So this is actually Arabic, but just a different dialect. Same like the Old Testament. I've explained this in my books. Jerusalem is in Europe. I've explained it there very clearly to show that yes, that Hebrew is just a different font handwriting of just an Arabic dialect. Same like there's English and there's American and things like this. Yes. So if you haven't read it, I can't do anything. So now they're printing Persian books in Europe. Yes. Why the hell are you going to print Persian books 500 years ago? And let's see what Europe looked like 500 years ago. Yeah, and then you'll turn around and think, hey, it just doesn't make sense that they're printing Persian books, yes, for yes, and they're trying to tell us they're probably going to export them when there's no roads, no nothing, and they're having serious crusades, fighting against the Holy Roman Empire and things like this. And what we're told is that in Europe, yes, people lived in pathetic conditions like peasants. Let me just see that there's peasant revolts and everything. Europe's just the history that they tell us that it's like poor. It's a joke, like the pictures that we're seeing in Egypt and things like this. Let me just find it, and then 15th century, because people have to actually think of this, or otherwise they're not going to be.
In reminder, we are uncovering the ancient name of America, so you can understand that the name of America, its ancient name, was in Arabic. Peace and love.
To imagine it. Why the hell are you going to be printing Persian books in Europe? Yes, when people in Europe are living in huts and all this thing made of straw and everything. These things are actually in my books, but let me see to describe it. So the people in Europe are actually living like this, and they're trying to tell us.
It's in our religious book, the Illah Sufiana.
We call it that in the 15th century, they're printing Persian books in Arabic books, you could say, but they're burnt the originals. What's going on here? More like they're printing forgeries. Yes, so now there is another thing. So when you turn around and say, what are these millions of pages of Persian books doing in Europe? Millions of pages. And in America, by the way, I will go through this in a minute. There's millions of pages of Persian and Arabic books, Arabic basically, in Europe and America, and not in the Middle East. People don't know this. Forget that.
That's what people did not know. All the Arabic was in Europe and America, because Europe and America are one and the same. And we're going to bring in the ancient name of America, as we brought the ancient name of Europe. All of this is according to our primary source, Illa Sufyana. So as we understand, these books was burned, and after burned, they forged a whole forgery of language inquisition. The Spanish Inquisition or Crusades was about burning the Arabic Bible all over and replacing it with the current Holy Bible. Peace and love.
Coins. So now they say some of these manuscripts may have been purchased in Iran, but in Europe they were printed. So they claim that they came from the originals. Why will you go in the 15th century and go and buy these Arabic manuscripts to Iran and Saudi Arabia and Egypt when you're burning them in Europe? Does that make sense to you?
No, they don't. Nope, they don't. That don't make no sense to you. Does that make sense? Question mark. Peace and love.
No, only in the way you described, yeah. It's very strange.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So now the thing is, Persia was Prussia. Prussia, Persia. They've just changed the spelling, and they're telling us, oh, no, these manuscripts came from the Middle East. They actually came from Germany. Germany and Europa was Araba, Arabia Europa. Like I explained this in previous videos.
Did you just hear the name that I was told in our previous upload? Araba, ancient name of Europe, and Ubara, ancient name of Europe. Peace and love.
Yes, so now let's go through this a bit more, and then do you know what they're exactly going to tell us in official history? So let's see, what do they exactly say? So in Europe, when the printing press came, at that time...
Let's see what exactly they're going to tell us now. They're trying to change our beliefs, y'all. They're trying to get us to worship a false god, y'all, by bringing in a false scripture, y'all. Peace and love.
Printing presses were producing millions of pages of books in Latin, and they were translated from Greek, yes, Hebrew, Arabic, and other classical languages like Hebrew, Arabic, Persian, Farsi, and all this. Now, Hebrew, my books explains it. It's just Arabic, different fonts, handwriting, and many of them are actually not even a different font. It's exactly the same. The majority are actually in the Arabic font. Yes, and the Greek manuscripts, we can't find the originals. They say that these documents that were allegedly in Greek were actually in Arabic, because they turn on and say that...
There we go. Now we see why your current retranslated of fake and false scripture is written in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. Because those are modified languages of an original language, an original book pre-existing the false scripture by thousands of years, located in Europe and America in its modern name. What we have forgot is our ancient phonetics of how our land masses were pronounced. So we have to reinstall the understanding first by showing the duping and the tricking to make us believe and become devoted to something that we have no clue of. Peace and love.
Oh, they claim it was originally, what do you call it? Yes, Greek. Yeah, because they will say it's in Arabic. Yes, but they will say it's Greek. What they will turn on and say, what do you call it? The Arabs translated Greek manuscripts from thousands of years ago. That's what they will say. And then they will say these same Arabic manuscripts from Arabic were then translated into Latin. Yes, but they printed these Latin Arabic ones too. But no. they brought these Arabic manuscripts from the Middle East, but the European Arabic manuscripts, they're burning millions of them in the same century. Does that make sense to you? And then they'll say, oh, they're Greek manuscripts, but wait a minute. They're not Greek. They're actually in Arabic writing, which they claim came from ancient Greece thousands of years ago. You see? And then when we go through,
we see how long all of us been lied to, from black to in between, all been lied to by those who so call themselves white. That's why we have to understand the miseducation and the misclassification through reclassifying the people of their colonization. So colonization was nothing but a reclassification, swapping and substituting your original language with a false imitating language of your original language. And this is why we have all these offshoots. But originally, all languages begun in Arabic. So the Bible we reading, we would have been reading in Arabic, which would have gave it a whole nother thought, a whole nother system of awareness, because the meaning is in the language. And if you are dealing with a language that is a newborn compared to a great muiz, a great elder, a language that is a great elder, then we must understand the deeper meanings would be in the language of the newborn or in the great elder. So it should make sense why the newcomers or the Johnny-come-latelys produce their own false text through their printing press. And when they went into these lands and gathered these texts, they copy pasted it and then typesetted it and then put that into the printing press to make all these language and to print millions of books, and especially this new false scripture called the King James Version of the Holy Bible. Peace and love.
It doesn't make sense. Yes, the actual history. Yes, let's see what they will say. The first book in Arabic was published in Italian town, the Farnese. And during those times, Arabic and Farsi were published in Venice, Rome, Vienna. What the hell's going on? Usually books that merchants and missionaries could make use of. Oh, yeah, they're invading Germany at the time. There's crusades all over Europe. And then do you know what they were saying? They're saying, yeah, they had printing machines in the Muslim world, yes, in the 15th century. But those books were managed by Greeks, Armenians, and Jewish community. And they printed books in their own language, but with the Arabic alphabet, which doesn't make sense. The entire history is just a fraud and a lie. Yes, and then they're saying, at the bottom 2 lines, they're saying, European books, you can't exactly sell them. They only allowed you to sell a few books in Arabic, Farsi, and Turkish. Well, Turkish was 80% Arabic at that time anyway. So it wasn't Turkish. It's same like saying American is 80% English. Yeah, Australian is 80% English. So it's actually Arabic with the Arabic handwriting and everything. They were published in Europe. Oh, they were published in Europe, but hey, the Muslims have got their own printing machines, but then the Europeans are burning the Arabic manuscripts, but then they go back to the Muslims and say, hey, can you give us a manuscript? We're going to print this. Does that make sense to you? No. It means
like
that...
Flam.
Yeah, it's just a total lie. And then the dates are not 15th or 16th century, because do you know what we find? That even until the 17th century, 17th, 18th century, Arabic was still the global international language, and it was particularly popular in Europe. Yes, that they were printing millions of pages in Europe in Arabic, and people could read and write in Arabic. We're talking the middle and the upper class. That Latin had not taken over, and they're translating these Arabic manuscripts into Latin. They call it Farsi or Turkish or whatever. Yes. Yeah, and everybody knows this. It's common knowledge. Let me just show you that up until the, 17th, 18th century, yes, European interest in the pursuit of the Arabic language, where it was like a major thing. Yes?
So just for reiterating and reiterations, we need to understand that the ancient name of Europe is Eubera, and Eubera was the founding place of the modern term of the people now called Arabs. Arabs and Europeans are older and modern names of one and the same thing. Arab and Europeans are the black people of America and the black people of Europe, opposite to Africans. Peace and love.
Arabic was a major thing. So we're going through it, and then what they turn around and say, what do you call it? So the European languages only took over. We can't find people speaking English before the 18th, 19th century, or French, or Italian, or anything. That all these manuscripts in Italian and things that
people wasn't even speaking English in the 20th century, 19th century. We talking fluent. So what were they speaking? In the East, they were speaking Arabic. So when they came over here to the West, they didn't bring Arabic. They brought another phonetic set of language, their African language. So we have to understand, we have been like Eddie Murphy in the movie Trading Places. The Africans, which are the so-called white people today, have traded places with the blacks, so-called today, which are the Europeans, anciently are the Arabians. So we have to understand this historical divergence in order to create a control and a power of influence to now control all of humanity through a false religion. Peace and love.
forgeries that printed after the 18th century. So the thing is, then they say the evolution of Arabic writing during European influence. It's like Arabic was already in Europe. And in previous videos, we showed that nobody speaks this classical Arabic in the Middle East at all. Even today, they learn it in school. It's a second language, like we learn French in England, and German and Spanish is a second and third language. Arabic is not their language. Arabic came from Europe. The evidence shows that we've got millions of pages of.
We just brought the recent upload proving that proof. Proving that proof. We have to understand the whole story of these false religions have misdirected us away from the true history. With starting with Abraham. Abraham, the birthplace of Abraham, in modern terms, was Europe. In ancient terms, in Arabia. So Abraham was a European or Arabian speaking Arabic. Peace and love.
Manuscripts in Europe and America, and they don't seem to have them in the Middle East. Yes, and then the thing is, then there is the other strange thing. Yeah, they did have some printing, but only a few printing things in the Middle East. And then people are asking, why were there no printing presses in the Middle East until 4 centuries after Europe? We're talking no proper ones until the 19th century. Yes, printing of Arabic and all these things. Yes. So the thing is, why did Europe have these millions of Arabic books? It just doesn't make sense. That the thing is, they say that the Muslims had them, but it's a lie.
Why? Because Europe original name is Arabia, and all of Arabia speak Arabic. So there would be nothing but Arabic writings, inscriptions, and everything in relation to the people of that land. Peace and love.
Because the thing is, when we go, that even the local people, they're asking questions. Yes, Arabic printing started only, 200 years ago in Syria. Yes, Arabic language, and the people couldn't speak it. Yes, and the basic printing we're talking, it's like same like you're going to open your own mobile phone, factory in your city. It's like it just doesn't make sense. And then another thing is, you can't find it in the Middle East. You will find throughout Europe and America, people have got millions of pages of Arabic manuscripts in museums and collections.
Where would you find it? In Europe and America. Europe and America. Keep that in mind.
In Europe and America, it just doesn't make sense. That you can go to Morocco and say, how many of these ancient manuscripts do you have? You don't have them. Or Sudan, and we did this in the previous 2 videos, the fake history of Africa. They put these manuscripts there because they didn't have them in these African countries, Morocco, Mali, Mauritania, yes, and all these other places. They don't have them. So now let's go to the United States. This is going to be very shocking because people are asking, what is...
Let's go. Let's come to America. Let's learn. Peace and love.
The history of the United States. Yes, people have asked and they said, David, you haven't gone through it. It's not just coins. We're talking millions of pages of books. People are studying this language like we study English in school because we speak English here. They studied Arabic in Europe because they spoke the classical Arabic, the language of the Quran. It was not just normal Arabic. So now what I'm going to go through this now, it just doesn't make sense. Here, the University of Victoria, Macpherson Library in America, it doesn't make sense that they've got these Arabic manuscripts, Quran manuscripts and other things, and all these other things, that are supposed to be, 1,000 years old or many centuries old in America in the University of Victoria, Macpherson Library. I've mentioned 6 here. Now, Indiana University, 53 manuscripts. Yes, it just doesn't make sense. In Arabic, yes. We're not going to find so many when we go through all these hundreds of cities throughout the Middle East. I'm not just talking about the big places like Fez or Casablanca or Algiers or Oran or Tunis or like the 10, 20 big cities in the Middle East. Let's go through the United States. This is so shocking. Cleveland Museum. Yeah, 86 manuscripts, Islamic Arabic manuscripts. What the hell are they doing there? Yes. Yeah, can you see it? Many of these manuscripts.
These are wisdom and love. These are archives hidden from the people of America, archived in museums and libraries. So we have to understand what has been kept from us in our own land and the lies told to us about our land. Peace and love.
They call them leaves because they're books made of leaves and codexes. Los Angeles County Museum of Art, yes, has got 250 codexes of manuscripts in Arabic. What the hell is going on here? And what we know is, if anybody reads my book, The Mud Flood, is Los Angeles earthquake. The city was wiped out apart from a few buildings. Yes? Yeah, 1905. Yes? So it just doesn't make sense. When did they get these manuscripts, hundreds of them, and everything? It just doesn't make sense. You know about the Los Angeles earthquake? Yes or no? Yes?
I know there have been many. About this particular one, I only know that the location and so on in the soil there is very strange by itself, or very unstable, supposedly.
Yeah, well, here we'll show you a bit of an aerial view. It's in my book, Mud Flood. If you haven't read it, you're not going to understand that half these cities that I'm talking about were destroyed. If you don't read that book, you won't know. I can't do anything, and don't try and figure things out, calculating it in your head, yes, or read Flamenco's books, or do extra research, many hours. I've made it short and easy. It's in the book, The Mud Flood. So what the hell is 250 codices of Arabic things doing in this Los Angeles County Museum? What is it doing there? Yes, and they're going to say they found it in the Middle East. Yeah, in the Middle East, we can't find it ourselves. Walters Museum, I forgot where Walters Museum is. I've just sent it to you now. Walters Museum has 168 manuscripts. Yes, the thing is, what are these Arabic manuscripts doing there? Are they actually from the Middle East, or are they actually American manuscripts? Walters Museum is in Maryland, Baltimore. What is it doing there in the middle of nowhere? You see, it just doesn't make sense. They're from the 9th century through to the 19th century. Yeah, what are they doing here? Yes, yeah. So now let's go through more. Yes, I'm starting from the small museums. I'm going to get to the big ones. It's shocking. University of Pennsylvania. Yes, what do you call it? 70 codices and 54 volumes. Do you know how big a volume? It's, yes, 54 volumes of Arabic texts and 15 volumes of Persian text, which is Arabic anyway. What the hell are these volumes of, doing there of Arabic manuscripts in the University of Pennsylvania in their museum or their library? What the hell is it doing there? How did it get there? Why are there? Or somebody's going to say he's talking about Arabic. Yes, and the thing is, they are not Vietnamese manuscripts.
This government, and if all governments is like this government, these governments be hiding knowledge from all of his people, from all of the people, not its people, from all of God's people. And now we can readily see why. For power and control, and to spread fear amongst the true and the living by imprisoning us within a language that will eventually bring us to unconsciousness of our own selves. Peace and love.
Why are they not, Italian manuscripts? Why are they not Slavic manuscripts? Why are they not Uzbek manuscripts? Why are they not ancient Swedish manuscripts? Why are they not Germanic manuscripts? Why are they not, ancient Spanish manuscripts? Why are they not ancient Angolan manuscripts? Ancient manuscripts from Nigeria? I'm not trying to push an Arabic or Islamic agenda here. We're finding these millions of pages of Arabic manuscripts in Europe and America, which does not make sense. Yes, they're just going to say, we picked it up from the Middle East. Same like they're saying, oh, these pyramids and all these other buildings, all these hundreds and hundreds of ancient temples and everything, they're ancient. Oh, yeah. So now Brown University, yes, has got, 40 Quran manuscripts and 168 other manuscripts, over 200 Quran manuscripts. Oh, the database has got 200 Quran manuscripts and from the 9th to the 16th century, all Middle Ages. Does this make sense? 200 Quran manuscripts. I won't find 200 Quran manuscripts from the 9th century in Casablanca. Casablanca is a big Islamic city in the Middle East. And if we go to Baghdad, they're going to say, there isn't anything here. The Mongols burnt it. Huh? Wait a minute. Can you explain this, Raphael?
No.
It means that they're American manuscripts. By the way, Brown University is in Rhode Island. Yes? In the United States. Yes? And do you know what is Rhode Island?
Well, all I can say is there was one very good comment in one of your earlier videos by someone who said he asked a local who seemed to know everything as to what had happened with some kind of a, I guess, Starfort or castle, which was officially consecrated by the Knights Templar or something in the early 20th century. And then this guy told him, well, actually before, quote unquote, the Muslims were here. So,
yes.
Also pointed
all
to
over.
The Muslims. Yes,
where they were all over the 7 continents, originating from Europe and first descending from the east of Europe to the west of America, covering all grounds. All grounds. We have to understand how vast of a history this and long people had to be around for this to occur. All this name swapping, all this timeline variation, all this alteration has confused the masses as the beginning of Genesis opened up saying about the Tower of Babel, that it was going to confuse the language, and now we know the language that it was being confused. How was they going to confuse it? What was the language? The language was old time Arabic. How was they going to change it up? Through creating millions or dialects, through the great vowel shift of the consonantal and vowel letters. So now we have to understand alphabetical scripts and where alphabetical scripts originate their understanding and their meaning from, in order to know if we are coming back to the old time Arabic of the Americas and Europes. Peace and love.
Go through this and explain, because many people think it's from the Middle East. I'm not pushing the Middle East. Rhode Island is actually New England. Yes, it's one of the first colonies or something. And then they tell you these people were like they were brought on ships, and the Puritans, and then other things. And I'll have to go through that next time and show that even on his sword was Arabic. There were actually people from England, Northern Europe. And many people who are already there, people won't understand this unless if they read my book. If you don't read it, you're not going to understand it. Don't try to guess it, unless if you're going to study the actual history of the demographic changes in Europe.
You won't understand anything anyone says or claims if you are God's child and you don't understand God's word. We have been duped to believe that the KJV and any Bible associated with the same format is the word of our divine creator, which it is not. It is the word of the false God. We have to understand the root of all evil. The root to all evil is the false word. And this is what they have done to all of us. All praises be to the divine creator.
Separating people into orphans in Europe, not the orphan trains in America. This is written in my book, Orphan Trains, but it goes through the separation of children and parents in the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th centuries in Europe. Yes, and in America, how they separated children. So when they turn around and say it was an Islamic civilization, it was white European, white American, and their civilization, not from the Middle East. So these manuscripts are there. We're talking in Rhode Island, in Brown University. Let's go through it again. In many of these Middle Eastern places, in the majority, we're not going to find 200 manuscripts from the 9th to the 16th century. Well, what are they going to say? All these people, they had so
From
much
the
money
9th to the
that they managed to buy
7th, from
all
the
these
9th to the
manuscripts. The Muslims were
16th
handing
century.
over. They were just handing over, saying, "Hey, take it, don't worry." You have big
Our
cash.
primary
So
source
now I'm
dates
going to
at
go
610
go to the next point, and you'll see
CE.
the number of manuscripts increases as we check in many
So
of the
we
places.
have proof
Now,
that
what is
there was
this?
Arabic
The
Bible.
American National Library of Medicine. Yeah, they've got 300 Persian Arabic manuscripts.
There
By
was
the way, of
Arabic
course, they've got
Bibles.
more. The amount of manuscripts that they're going to declare, they've got more hidden because they don't
And
want
so
you
now-
to know. And of course, they're going to show the worst ones to show that the world was backwards in them days. And they'll say, look at this, and what do you call it? Yes, it was backward and we improved it. No, it wasn't. They've hidden the old ones. And the National Library of Medicine for the United States, it's a very important library. Yes, and what do you call it? Shall I show you? It's the world's largest biomedical library, etc., etc. And the thing is, it just doesn't make sense. We've got 300. Their oldest manuscripts are all Arabic. Yes. The thing is, and they'll say we got the knowledge
In America,
from
the most
this
important
Arabic
library
civilization.
of medicine have nothing but Arabic manuscripts in their library in America. And these claims have never been told to the people. we have to be a skeptic. These people who are portraying as rulers and the rich have done nothing but feed off our ignorance, giving them vitality of life. So we must understand where the line must be drawn. And we must understand what it would take for us to return to the original, the real deal, religion, real religion. Peace and love.
The thing is, they're going to say, oh, yeah, we found it in the deserts. These people running around in the deserts, they had nothing to do, and we took it from them in the colonial times. But let me just show you. Yes, and they're just going to sell you some strange story, desert nomad Arabs. And they're going to say these people, that even today, that we can see that there's nothing there in these deserts, but they'll say, oh, no. William whatever, or Sir whoever, or this and that people, yes, they went to the deserts, yes, and then they just took it back from these people, but stole it from these people. And then when we look at these people, we can see that no way could these people have written these manuscripts. There were European manuscripts. The United States already had these amazing buildings. Many people have checked through this in Tartaria and everything. They're telling us it came from these people, yeah, who were easily enslaved. Yes, they didn't have the technology to even protect themselves from these empires or anything, that the history just doesn't make sense. So why is the National Library of Medicine, what's it doing with that? Let's keep going. Now, McGill University in America, yes? How many Arabic manuscripts do they have? And they're mostly the Quran. How many Arabic manuscripts?
Well, only they say 380 codices.
Yeah.
Mostly Quran.
Yeah, that's what. Yes, and where is it? It's in Montreal, McGill University, in case people don't know the location. It's in Quebec, in Canada. Yes, I'm talking about throughout North America, you're going to find these strange things. And that university only opened in 1813, and it didn't become like a proper university until the 20th century. Yes, and then the thing is, it's in Canada. So what are these Arabic manuscripts doing there? We can't even find so many Quran manuscripts in the Middle East.
Arabic
we can't find them.
in America? Was ancient America Arabic? Why are we finding the most Arabic writings in Europe and America? America and Europe. The people of those two places are one and the same because of the Arabic writing is the same in both locations, pre-existing all your Indo-European languages, understanding it to be older than your Proto-Indo-European language that is before any Indo. We're talking about Arabic. This is non-Indo-European language. And this is what was on the land, writing on leaves, papyruses, papers, rocks, walls, stones. The evidence is plentiful. There's a plenum of resources to know and understand that all knowledge have not been told to us. Peace and love.
Prove it. Yes, apart from, and then if you're going to say, hey, there's a few of these libraries. Oh yeah, the British and the French opened them in the colonial days. Yes. Oh, they put many of these Arabic manuscripts. And by the way, the local people can't even speak Arabic today. Even today, they have to learn it. In Saudi Arabia, I'm talking about. Yes, in Egypt and everywhere else. So now let's go. Columbia University, yes, 600 codices of manuscripts. Yes, 600 codexes of manuscripts. Yes, of Arabic manuscript. What the hell do you think is going on here? Yes, Can you see it?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
if we follow the simple logic just as by the coins, it would strengthen the idea that Michelle Gibson has presented. She calls it the quote-unquote Moorish civilization, but that there was simply a...
Wait, I will tell you now. When you say, if somebody went to Morocco or somewhere and you heard their accent,
You see, it's coming and it's approaching. You see the ancient name. We're going to talk about the ancient name in part 2. We want you to get a foundation of understanding so you can have relativity to the new understanding that you're going to ascend yourself to. Returning to the state of mind of your ancient foremothers and your ancient forefathers who was divine, and spiritually minded. Peace and love.
and how they pronounce it, yeah, Morocco, Muslim or Musa, Morse. It comes from the word Mos or from Moses or Moshe or the prophet Moses or the prophet Moshe. And so the thing is, when you say Muslim, yes, you know, the Moors, Muslim, you can call it Moors, you can call it Arabic, like you can call it United States, you can call it America, you can call it New England. Same thing. You understand?
Bam, you heard it. Same thing. You can call it, but we gonna call it what our ancient foremothers and our ancient forefathers called it. This is what has been hidden from us. Our rich, vast estate. Peace and love.
So the thing is, this civilization was actually European and American. It was not people from the Middle East. No, there is no evidence to show it's the current Arabic or their ethnicity or anything. But let's go to, you know, this, what do you call it? Yes, you know, this Columbia University codexes and the things. Let's have a look what they've got. They've got many of these books by, you know, Shahnameh, the Book of Kings. Yes, Firdausi, yes, Hamza, Nizami, and all these other things. 15th century.
We're going to turn on our lesson. We're going to leave it there. The Moorish, the Moors, the Musa, Mansa Musa, Musalim, Moses, England, Europe, America, Arabia, Moorish, United States, all this coincides as one and the same word. Arabic in its origin. And the people, and especially as the noble prophet, Noble Drew Ali said, the new Moors were coming. Peace and love, and we will return.
Islamic poets. Oh, by the way, many of these things we can't even find them in the Middle East. They're these so-called.
As-salam, as-salam, Sufayan.